And some of the cool here, they say our people on the party down here, down here. They say like collard greens, and the big here. They say the party down here, down here. All the nice jobs everywhere you can go. All in the country down along that road. What is it is y'all come to do? They got Of course, you know you're back on another journey to truth in life, rocking and rolling with your boy, none other than MTAC, Mr. Case, coming at you live. Wanted to start off a little bit different, show you guys that I am a real person, and I do real people things, you know, such as down here in the country, we like to barbecue, so um, it's it's almost done, and it's pretty much ready to go off the grill. I'm gonna give it one more turn, and we're gonna see what it do. So if you guys will bear with me for a little bit, we will be talking about manufactured chaos today, because that's what kind of world we live in, unfortunately. A world where the chaotic situations of our life is pretty much manufactured by the satanic elite. If you're in the building, I welcome you on. That's pretty much done. It's hard to do this with one hand. It's hard to do this with one hand. But there's that MT special sauce. That MT sauce is going to make it taste the way it's supposed to taste. And unfortunately, the dog got a hold to the brush, so I can't brush it on. I'm having to go old school, like my mama used to. Nothing but a spoon and a fork. That's just about the last of it. I don't like to overdo it. Whenever it's being smoked, just enough to get the flavor in the meat, and that's just about it. I like to marinate everything before I put it on the grill. Put it in a Ziploc bag, and the flavor should be already inside the meat before you do anything. So we're gonna go inside and kind of get to know one another. You guys can get to know me a little bit better. I read what the letter said. This is what it says. All right. And as you can tell, where I grew up in the South, old school blues and gospel is the sound of the black, so-called black community, which is the Israelite community. It's soulful, and you can actually hear real music that is heartfelt, not this new manufactured music that is manufactured for chaos. where they manufacture the degradation of our women, the violence between the men in our community, and much, much more. But if you guys can give me just a few minutes, we'll uh, get started and we'll dive into this topic of um, manufactured chaos in America. From the Operation Tonkin Bay, where they orchestrated the Vietnam War through falsified leaflets in the media reports, downright to the central bankers uh, pretty much funding World War I and World War II, driving European countries into debt and so forth. So I want to dive into it, and I also want this to be a very interactive conversation as well. I see we do have some comments, but I can't seem to get to them. Say, why is it stopping me from saying the comments? Let's see, Tragic Magic is in the building. He said, "What's up?" Stephen O'Neill saying, "Hi, MTAC." Yes, indeed. We are in the bazillion. Is the audio clear, you guys? Hopefully it is. I do have some potatoes. I've turned them down, but doing Cajun potatoes, and I probably won't be able to do the whole breakdown of how to prepare this simple country meal, but I'll give you guys a few tips, and hopefully we can start doing like a diversity of videos. That way, you know, it's just not so robotic in its delivery. Because I've noticed I tend to lose the attention of the public whenever I do straightforward lectures. Unfortunately, people are more or less built to be entertained and not educated. So if you're not giving them some form of entertainment along with the education, then they tend to um, have a cognitive distancing effect and so forth. And so I want to be able to do a little bit of both, keep you engaged in whatever way possible, and also be able to educate you on spiritual, social, psychological, political, um, emotional means, etc. Because the object of the game is to understand that we are in war. It don't look like the concept of war that we've been taught with the machine guns and army tanks, etc. Nonetheless, it's more effective than weapons of physical destruction. So let's get to it. It says America and the CIA supporting dictatorship around the world for business entrants under the guise to stop the spread of communism. That is true. That is absolutely true. Don't know if you guys know this, but several of the regime leaders that they now have called terrorists was originally funded and militarily supported by the U.S. One of the most popular is Saddam. He was a radical, a revolutionist in his country prior to the U.S., CIA, and DIA operatives funding him with weapons of war in order to overthrow the then present Iraqi government. And once he took dictatorial control of the country, they wanted him to go to war against Iran, which was the part of the Muslim Brotherhood. And it was due to finance. The U.S. went into debt shortly after the Russian-Iranian conflict in the 1970s, leading into the 1980s. The U.S. went into an economical depression. And the only way to offset that oil value, because of the dollar standard is upheld by crude oil trade. That's just a fact, subject for another time, because it's so vast. But nonetheless, he was a honored guest, considered a dignitary at the White House. You can find pictures of him and certain presidential figures shaking hands as he had a dinner in his honor. 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. We know that address. But when the negotiations for Kuwait didn't go as agreed, they turned him into a terrorist, and they used a media machine, same way that they do today with the media. They're able to pretty much turn friends into foes, good people into bad people, and bad people into good people. They essentially paint the reality of whatever through the media, and the people fall for it, hook, line, and sinker. You guys give me a minute if you don't mind. I had a gang stalker ride by earlier, two of them in a car, and they just, it was ridiculous. They had shades on, they pulled up in my yard, and just stared at me. Weird, creepy weirdos is what these people are, but nonetheless, I don't let them get to me. And you shouldn't let them get to you. So hold on for 1 second. There's Rocky. Do apologize, Rocky, but none of this is for you. Not this time. You can have the bones after I'm done. So we're gonna slide this over. And it looks like it's ready to come on off the grill. And this gives people time to actually come in to the live stream and get comfortable. Turn that piece over one more time. I'll let that set for about 3 more minutes, and it should be ready to come on off. Oh, there's my little garden. I got collard greens, turnips, mustard greens. I also got I got a cucumber plant, which the cucumbers are actually starting to grow. I got watermelon and honeydew. So I'll go over here and show you guys real quick. All right, so I gotta uh, do some garden tendering, but got collard greens, mustards. Not sure if you guys can tell the difference. Some of you might be country enough to tell. And then you can see some of the uh, cucumbers coming in on that plant. And then my watermelon vines, they are really sprouting. They're going all the way underneath the the deck. So yeah, it's been raining, it's been storming, and I'm fortunate that uh, it have blossomed quite a bit. So got banana plants and so forth going. When I was growing up, my people uh, down in the country, and this is all they did. You know, we had to shield peas, we had to pick them, we had to do everything. We was out in the garden so much I got sick of it. But as I grew older, I started to appreciate and value uh, the knowledge of being able to live off the land and how to do it. So it never left me. And now I can say thank you to those that helped put this in me. And we need to be considering this, especially as targeted individuals, how to live off the land. If the grid goes down, then what do we do? Do we know what to do? Do we know how to plant garden? Do we know how to filtrate natural water systems um, and much, much more? So just something to think about. That should do it. Be ready to take that down. It ain't nobody but me and Rocky. So today, so it's gonna do me just fine. I would love to know in the comment section if any of you uh, know how to plant gardens and live off the land, just in case the chaos that we're going to be discussing includes the closure of stores. I mean, it's not far-fetched. As a matter of fact, during 2019, the quarantine of COVID, I shouldn't have said that word. This video definitely going to get torn out. But you know what I'm talking about. We'll say the C-19 situation, they actually uh, had it where you couldn't even go into stores for a while. You couldn't buy food, and people were panicking. And I believe it was a test run for something much major, much larger, and we need to be prepared. Of course, the Most High, He instructs us in His Word that no man will be able to buy, sell, or trade without taking a mark of the beast. If you can't buy your food, then what are you going to do? Are you capable of operating it? It says, the stopping of communism. Absolutely. So, even in South America, in um, Guatemala, Chile, Argentina. As a matter of fact, Chavez, he was put into power by the CIA. You guys should know this stuff, right? They went down there and overthrew the government, and the Chavez communist system was concocted only after the CIA went into South America. So we know these things to be true. They started the crack pandemic in the 80s. They did. Contraband, Nicaragua. They used a convicted felon by the name of Rick Ross as their black patsy, as their government mule to work it through the black communities along the West Coast, while the CIA started this guerrilla warfare in Nicaragua over those coke fields, etc. And they flooded the black community and now eventually the white community with crack cocaine and so forth. So these are factual truths. This is what they've done. It says Trump wanted to destroy the deep state. It's midnight here in Ireland, so I'm getting ready to go to bed. Good night to you guys. Oh, good night to you as well. I did not know we had guests from Ireland. That is humbling to know that you took the time to visit this channel all the way from Ireland, you know, the home of the Fighting Irish. So you guys are the real Notre Dames. Stephen, I wish you a blessed night, and hopefully you get a chance to watch the full video at a more convenient time. Let's see. Do excuse me. Up to do. Come on. This dog is actually really smart. I mean, I'm talking about he is extremely smart. Like trying to trick him like you can other dogs, it don't work so well. But there is one thing that he cannot resist, and that's essentially the rattle of his snack bags. If you start rattling that around, he thinks he's going to get something. He comes running right away. So I'm assuming they're actually putting crack cocaine in these carry-out dog bags, because I can tell him to come in, he will ignore me. As soon as I do this, like a crackhead, he comes just that quick. And this isn't just him, this is every dog. So it makes me wonder, what are they putting in here? He goes right into his cage. I can close the door. And this is exactly what they use at PetSmart and all the other training facilities. So I got to go through these ingredients and see what the heck is in here that caused these dogs to go nuts. You know what I mean? Literally. Like it's insane. I can try to give him commands all day. He won't listen. If he hears this bag, not smell the food, but if he hears this bag after tasting this stuff, you know, he goes crazy. I wouldn't put it past him. It says, after we invaded Afghanistan, which made 80% of the world's heroin, the heroin pandemic started in America. Absolutely tragic. Magic. That is 100% true. As a matter of fact, I was doing a report on this particular subject, just initial to my starting, initial to you know, me getting targeted, etc. I was doing a report because I had a couple of close family members that ended up on like the painkillers or whatever the case may be, or the, you know, the opioid addiction or whatever. And I was like, where did this come from? Because I was completely oblivious to it. You know what I mean? I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and when I was coming along, only drugs that I knew about was marijuana, and then the generation before me, the crack cocaine pandemic. But that was like the older, like my uncles and aunties, generation, etc. And then my generation, I've only heard of marijuana, or whatever. Wasn't no a drug addict, drug dealer, drug user ever. That's all I ever heard of. And I grew up in the projects, in the hood. And then all of a sudden, out of the middle of nowhere, um, these opioid pandemic started. And I was like, where did this come from? And so eventually it led me to do an in-depth research on the subject. And what I had discovered was alarming. I discovered, and you guys can go look up the public information for yourself, the spikes of opioid addictions and what major events preceded them. And the during there's first off, let me try to simplify this. There's only like 3 places in the world where this stuff can be grown. Afghanistan, it's called the opioid wars. As a matter of fact, if you Google opioid wars, that'll lead you down the rabbit hole. So I discovered something known as the opioid wars, which actually started back at the end of the 1800s when the Brits went into China and they discovered opioids for the first time on the island of Hong Kong. The natives there was using it for a numbing agent if they had a toothache, or if they had a gunshot wound or whatever it was. They would use a plant that would numb the pain. But they noticed that excessive use of the plant would cause addiction and craze and et cetera. And they wanted to control this. Just look up opioid wars. It may be on Wikipedia or whatever. It's public information and so forth. But 3 places that it grows is Afghanistan, Vietnam, and Hong Kong. And you're not going into Hong Kong because China's too powerful now. But and there's 2 periods in the U.S. where we had opioid pandemics. One was right after we went into Vietnam. You got a supply. They created the demand here in the United States. And right after we went into Vietnam, the U.S. was flooded with opioids. After that supply dried out, there was a period where there was a rapid decline where the opioid addictions, you can go look up the charts, et cetera. All this is public information. I'm telling you guys, just look up what I'm saying. You can see the charts, the line charts. It goes all the way down. There's like no use, nothing. All of a sudden, we go into Iraq, and then we go into Afghanistan after Iraq, and it shoots through the roof. It shoots through the roof. Not only that, the street form of it goes through the roof. The pharmaceutical main market form of it goes through the roof. So there's all forms of opioids just being flooded through the U.S., whether through your local pharmacies or your Walgreens and CVS's or your local street dealer. And the only correlation between the two is U.S. military fronts on the supply grounds. Vietnam, Tonkin Bay, Afghanistan. These are actual facts, and I'm just putting it out there. If you think I'm lying, go look up the information, do the research yourself. After I'd done the research, I typed up the report. A colleague of mine said, send it to me. I sent it to him. along with my reports on 9/11, because it was associated with 9/11. Why did 9/11 happen, etc. We're talking about a multi-trillion-dollar global industry, marketing industry. Opioids is a multi-trillion-dollar marketing. So shared that with him. Very next day, every last one of my electronic devices were hacked. This isn't fiction, this is facts, and my life has been chaotic, talking about the chaos ever since. This is just the real deal. And I do apologize, you guys. I'm standing here because I'm trying to charge my phone device. I'm down to 2%. As a matter of fact, yeah, it's going to go dead. So if you all don't mind, I'm going to allow my phone to charge, and then I'm going to come back in on part 2 of the live stream.